Different.
BBC Radio 1.
Special guests today, Kristen Stewart and Chris Hemsworth. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to have you both here.
Pleasure to be here.
Well, have you been to Radio 1 before, Chris?
Don't think so. I haven't been in this building unless it was a sort of phoner from somewhere which I got tapped into.
What are your thoughts about Radio 1 so far?
I'm impressed, mate. This is one of the most sexy-looking microphones I've had the pleasure of speaking into.
I would agree. Kristen, you've not been here for a while, probably since the first Twilight film. Is it nice to be back?
Yeah, it is. Actually, I do completely remember this room, and I was sitting in this chair.
Oh, well, we'd like to meet you for at home.
Yeah, thank you very, very much. I want to be at this jockey.
We found the same chair that you had the last time.
Oh.
She demanded it.
We didn't. We had no idea. But welcome to Radio 1. Let's talk about Snow White and the Huntsman. It's a wonderful, magical, mysterious thing. It's kind of incredible.
Yeah. It's sort of, there's the original fairy tale we know, but it really is its own film and takes on many different turns. And there's there's a dark gothic element, but it's also still, enchanting and magical in the best way. But certainly epic.
I mean, it's kind of true to itself. I mean, Snow White's kind of Snow White.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is really a classic telling of the story. It's just that, back in the day when Disney did it, it was really cool and valued and awesome for a woman to be like a really maternal figure, like the ultimate caregiver, It's just that now
now she swings a sword.
Yeah. Now it's like, okay, well, let's see if we can take someone like that and put her in a really dangerous situation and see if she can cope and survive and still remain that girl, which instead of, we would have called it something other than Snow White. If we would have called it like Joan of Arc if that was really what we were going for.
I like the bit where you roar into the troll's face. I mean, I imagine that on the set that day, because I mean you're not known for being like a shouty person. But all of a sudden this is go. It must have surprised everybody, don't you think?
Surprised me.
Did it?
Nice. I was knocked out at the time from the troll, and then I couldn't help sort of open my eyes and go, "Wow, what's she done? Who's that? What is that?"
And I've heard that you did actually knock Chris out deliberately. It was deliberately, wasn't it?
Oof, the real story. El Schmacko right in the bridge of my nose and big swollen face and black eye.
He was doing his close-up, and I wasn't even in it, and so
she was jealous. She said, "It's my close-up."
Yeah, exactly.
I want to be on screen.
Yeah, no, but you see someone getting really into something, you don't want to. He was leaning down quite a bit. This is a true telling of the story, and so I was like, I wonder if he remembers that I need to have like a bit of space to clear his actual
so it's my
nose.
fault.
No. I know I sound like such a jerk right now, but that's so not what
No, you're right.
And so because I did not want to interrupt, I was totally into what you were doing, and I was like, okay, well maybe we just hold it till the end, and I did it, and I messed up. I hate actors too that are like, well, I was so in it, I just, sorry, I just killed you with my sword. But it actually, it happened.
It's quite the punch, might I say. If it was to have continued that fight, I didn't want any part of it. And, I was like, yeah, that's it, I'm done.
That's actually the exact expression you made.
You must have felt awful afterwards.
Can I just say, she immediately did, and then she giggled. And then she felt awful again. And then 2 days later, I see her on Letterman going, "Oh yeah, I knocked out Thor." I was like, what's she doing?
You have no idea what it feels like to dream kind of your whole life. Like, have you ever had that thing where your hand falls off, all like melds into someone's face as you go to protect yourself?
No.
Like, really? I've had so many dreams where it like falls off their face, and it,
well, dreams where you nearly punch them and you can't.
Oh,
you just can't. Yeah,
all the time.
I have dreams about melting hands. I don't know, but
so in real life, that's not what it's like. And that was the glee that he could read on my face. I was like, wow.
BBC Radio 1.
Rick James.
More from those two after the new track from Nelly. Nelly Furtado's new one's called Big Hoops. Brackets bigger the better. 5:25 on Radio 1. Every Thursday we have special guests for you. Today it's Kristen Stewart and Chris Hemsworth from the new Snow White and the Huntsman films.
BBC Radio 1.
Let's talk about the rest of the cast in the films. It's an amazing cast, obviously, but the dwarfs particularly interested me because you've got Bob Hoskins, Ray Winston, and Nick Frost as well.
And Ian
McShane.
They must have been such fun to work with.
That was iconic guys on and off screen that have been plucked from various gangster films. Put on
Well, I mean, Bob
dwarf
Hoskins was
outfit.
famous for the BT adverts in this country, so that's quite a step up for him.
It's, he was also a hook.
Oh, of course, to a lesser extent, Hook, mainly the BT adverts.
Yeah.
They're all like show stealers though. To watch them like try to one up each other was so crazy to be around. Like,
Oh, Charlie, and remember that time you did this and
shove it, darling.
Yeah.
But they must have some amazing stories, those people, because they've done a lot of very, very different things, haven't they? I mean, Ray Winston's a legend. I mean,
Oh, of course. But that was the thing, like, listening to them talk about, and you don't even realise, you forget that, oh, that's right, they've all worked together a number of times and sort of grown up on screen together, you know, and the iconic sort of British gangster sort of films, and now they're assembled as these dwarves, as a band of sort of drunken criminals. And
Again, they're kind of playing gangsters.
yeah, they are. They're not the usual sleepy, grumpy, smiley, whatever the other dwarves they were.
Yeah.
but they're all kind of British legends in their own right, and they will love they will love a night out and a drink and stuff in real life. But the dwarfs would anyway. But did you all go out together? Because I imagine that as if all the characters were out together in a bar. I mean, that's the best bar ever.
Yeah,
Ray was
God.
pitching that.
He was, and it never happened.
It never went out.
Well, it's sort of like
It's a big group, but
I reckon
Yeah.
Hoskins would have been there doing shots. It would have been amazing.
down the tear. It would have been. It would have been fun. We all would have been arrested, I'm sure.
It's got some amazing scenes, amazing action scenes. Kind of like the horse bits are kind of almost Braveheart-esque. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. I like that
Good.
comparison.
What?
Thank you.
I mean, Braveheart is maybe the best film of all time.
Yeah.
Or one of them.
I think so.
But how fun was it to do those set pieces? Were they just long days, or did you think, no, these are actually quite fun?
both definitely.
Yeah. I mean, the scene of the beach charging into the castle, there was, like 100 horse or something, and it was that was one of the most adrenaline-fueled scenes I've ever been a part of.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously like an undeniable energy. There is no acting going on there. You're charging down the beach on a horse with 100 other horses behind you, and you're wearing armor, and I'm like 110 pounds, and I was like feeling like I was gonna die.
Yeah.
I love that too, though. Like it's so much cooler than having to fake it, because like
Yeah.
because we had to fake it a couple times, and we were on these fake horses on the beach.
Yeah, a couple of times for certain shots, I need to get really close. So you're on a mechanical horse that's like attached to a trailer being towed down the beach.
Yeah.
And you just feel incredibly ridiculous.
Incredibly ridiculous.
Having to bob up and down like you're on the horse. They're like, more, faster.
I like that you do your own stunts and things.
Faster, yeah, give it to me.
That's what you're saying to me.
He really enjoyed himself.
But
Just yelling at my mechanical horse.
there's not a man in it, is there? Like, you're not sitting on a man in a horse. More, faster, come on. Kicking his chest, come on.
Why is he so slow? Lazy.
So you do your own fights and stuff. That must be quite fun to learn things like that, Kristen.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I wanted to do more. It was funny. Like as soon as I would learn any bit of choreography, it would be truly ridiculous, actually, to watch me take down these big stunt guys. Like I, initially was just doing it with a foam sword and like a cardboard shield, and they
We're not painting this film in a good light, are we?
Yeah.
Mechanical horse with a foam sword.
This is in
Out
training.
Monday. I can't wait to see this film.
No, it's so real. Let me tell you how real it is. I promise you, actually, it is. It was so much more about being like instinctual and having it come from a place where like some girl my size could actually outsmart someone or think faster or move faster than kind of like walk around busting the heads of 6-foot armored men. So it holds up. Like you want to root for her. You kind of think she might fail rather than just thinking like, okay, well, we're watching Snow White the superhero.
Some more then from Kristen and Chris after Foo Fighters, Kristen Stewart and Chris Hemsworth. Let's hear more from them.
BBC Radio 1.
Now, you're both obviously in massive blockbuster films, Avengers and obviously Twilight for you, Kristen. Did you ever imagine that those films would get such a huge audience that young people today are looking at you going, I'd like to be like them one day? Who were those people for you when you were first thinking about being in the business, whether it was writing or acting, whatever? Who did you look up to and love?
I mean, a whole bunch of Aussies, that I've sort of grown up watching, and Mel Gibson and Russell Crowe, and then, Heath Ledger, similar to my age, but certainly someone that was doing it before I was, and sort of was leading the way. I mean, there's
Harold Bishop,
Al Stewart. By the way, I've worked with both of them, and they're awesome.
yeah. For you?
This might sound like a completely obvious answer, just because it was like my first experience of what you of a great example of a movie star. I worked with Jodie Foster when I was like 10.
Amazing.
And so like I think to be so young and see somebody just be another hand that helps make a whole, rather than being like anything more than that. She does things so for the right reasons, and yeah, she's amazing.
It's important to have those people to look up to, isn't it, I suppose?
Yeah.
Do you want to still be acting in 20 years or so, or do you want to go for writing or directing, or what are you hoping to do?
I'd like to direct one day.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I'd like to be good enough to write and direct. I don't know if I am, but directing, I think at some stage I'd love to take on.
And I have to ask, obviously, because I will get killed by twihards, and I'm sorry to ask this, but we've got to get something for the twihards.
Don't apologize.
I'm not.
Like,
well, okay.
I mean, look who you're talking to right
No,
now.
I know, but I just,
What are you doing, man?
Yeah, it's like because we had Daniel Radcliffe on the show, and because he's incredible, and he loves obviously Harry Potter, and you know when you're asking him that he's been asked the questions a million times.
Yeah, totally.
So, but it's a huge part of your life, isn't it? Twilight.
Yeah.
We've got the final part to come, and it must be. Do you feel a bit sad that it's kind of done, or is that the time it's right?
Yeah, I mean, I feel the same way, kind of about every project. It's you do start it to finish. Like, the ultimate goal is that you want the story out, and so I actually am really relieved. I've had that weighing on me for 4 years, like wondering how it all is going to come out, and I'm so proud of everyone, and like it's so not something that I want to distance myself from. Everyone thinks that I'm like trying to, and so it's really nice to look back on, and like I lived there for so long that I do feel really satisfied. Unlike doing a movie for 5 weeks and feeling like like a little indie movie and feeling like, God, I really wish I could just sort of revel in that a little bit longer. I was able to sort of be there for so long, and it'll, I'll talk about it forever. Everyone will, it'll be a thing forever for me. So I'm pretty lucky.
Hopefully you'll come back one day in maybe 25 years' time and do an old version where you all look really old and haggard.
Yeah,
and stuff.
perfect. Or maybe I'll remake it with like someone else.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah,
I'll direct
directed
it.
by Kristen Stewart.
That's right.
Yeah. It's Twilight 3000.
Oh my God, nicely done. You're hired. That was awesome.
Chris Hemsworth is playing Bella.
I love that guy's voice. In a world. It's always in a world, isn't it?
In a world
Yeah.
where a man was questionable. But,
In a world.
Summer, meet Joe. He was your everyday guy until one day,
He rode on a mechanical horse with a foam sword. I just kind of want him to narrate my life a little bit. That'd be perfect. Or just my radio show. Whatever.
That's why we're actors. We have those voices in our heads anyway.
All the time.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure to meet you both. Thank you so much. And Snow White and the Huntsman is a delight, so it's worth a watch. And thanks for coming in, and hopefully see you again soon.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you so much, man.
BBC Radio 1.
Rick James.
I could write you a song.